discussion regarding flock safety automated license plate readers. I have Sheriff Ross Teeple.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman, members of the board, Pinal County. For those of you that suffer from undiagnosed ADHD like I do, I'll just start off by saying that last month I instructed my staff to cancel the flock contract. That being said, I want to explain that I have serious safety concerns and Fourth Amendment violation concerns with AI data pattern recognition and facial recognition that these cameras are capable of. I want to give a little backstory because on the agenda it says ALPR, which if that was technically accurate, then we wouldn't have a Fourth Amendment concern. The Supreme Court of the United States multiple times has said that there is no expectation of privacy for your license plate on the back of your vehicle when it's driving down the roadway. Reiterate what I started off with explaining in this discussion is I have serious Fourth Amendment concerns over the current technology that is spread out on Pinal County unincorporated areas. I'm only talking about cameras that are under the control of the Pinal County Sheriff's Office. These concerns are enough that I instructed my staff to cancel the contract that the Sheriff's Office has. As far as with these cameras go, I wanted to give a little context for everyone I think we can all agree that AI has become way more powerful now than it was in 2021. And in 2021, we looked at license plate readers because the Supreme Court of the United States it's settled law that you have no expectation of privacy for your license plate as it travels down a public roadway. The most recent ruling I find is really curious because in an 8-1 ruling in 2020, the Supreme Court of the United States confirmed that law enforcement can run a license plate driving down the roadway. The only dissenting opinion was by Sotomayor, where she dissented not on the reading of the license plate, it was on the actions of the police officer after he ran the license plate. He ran the license plate and he said it showed that the registered owner of the vehicle had a suspended license, so he pulled him over, assuming it was the registered owner of the vehicle. It turned out to be him, but I actually agree with the dissension on this that the officer should have known the person driving had a suspended license, knew that there was a registered owner. But so the entire Supreme Court agreed that there's no expectation of privacy on your license plate because technically DMV owns the license plate. The problem that I have that my staff brought up to me that I've been researching is we won't even go into the data breach issues that have been circulating. My IT confirmed that some of them have happened. What I have an issue with is once you create technology that can now establish a pattern of movement for an individual, there's a completely different Supreme Court ruling talking about putting geo-trackers on a vehicle so they could track a person's movement everywhere, and that's too intrusive. So now we have a camera system that can do facial recognition technology, pattern recognition technology, and can start building a data set on what our citizens are doing on a day-to-day basis. And that, in my training and experience and talking to my fellow law enforcement, is a huge Fourth Amendment violation.
Because they can track your movements.
I'm just looking at the concerns that were presented to me by my staff and by my independent research. One of the things that I'd like to point out with our current vendor is when I legitimately started asking these questions from our rep for this area, and he said he would get me the answers for that. The next time I saw him, he explained to me that he had been let go from our vendor. So I thought that was very telling. So I'm open for discussion, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman, members of the board, if you have any further questions, sir.
Supervisor Surtee.
Yeah, I wanted to actually get this info out there before we started this. This is why I got this on the agenda, but there's so much national and local outrage, and people are taking it upon themselves to take these things down all over the country. And I think when we voted initially for these things, we didn't really have the information of what they would turn into and what they can still turn into, which is why we need to be concerned about them. I mean, the president just took a trip to China. You're monitored everywhere you go there. And the same way in the United Kingdom, it's just like the novel 1984. You just address the Fourth Amendment because they don't only photograph your car, they photograph whatever. Even if you walk by them, they're tracking you. And then there's the tired arguments, well, if you have nothing to hide, then why worry about it? And, well, why not just chip everybody right now and track everybody? And then I hear the tired argument, well, you can be tracked by this cell phone. Well, then why do we need them? We already have cell phones to track us that way. And the newer models, which will end up replacing these if we don't put a stop to it now, they will have facial recognition. They'll be able to read whose cell phone's in your vehicle and exactly who's in there. The city of Mesa has real-time cameras where you are actually tracked as if you were in China. And some places, they're putting them into infrastructure, like we do the cell phone towers into cacti and stuff. They're putting these cameras into things like that. The insurance questions, if we did not take them down, who's going to be liable to replace them? And they do not have breakaway poles.
This vehicle was tested with crash standards. The pole, however, was not. This pole is made by a company that used the certification NCHRP 350. That is a pole crashworthiness certification, except that this pole was installed in the ground after January 1st, 2020. That certification was no longer allowed under law. You might ask, why am I bringing this to you? Well, this particular pole, there's 130,000 of these poles just like this one across the United States. And these poles are owned by Flock Group Incorporated, doing business as Flock Safety. My heart goes out to the millions of people who travel by these poles, these unsafe poles, every day, 24/7.
Like poles that are mandated to be along the roadways in most places. And who monitors them? It's not elected people. It's not even sworn officers. It's just people that get hired at these companies. They have access to all your data. And there's been a lot of cases, and I'm not saying this would be, hopefully none of our officers were. There's been even where a police chief was tracking his ex to monitor her movements. So another reason why you can't let this keep going. And from what I can tell, the Flock company has this information in perpetuity. It belongs to them once they record it.
But I do want to continue to speak on the record on why you have been sold a lie. While the community continues to be told this is just a license plate reader, the contract paints a different story. This contract includes video feeds, not just plate numbers, AI analytics, and the ability to add cameras and devices over time. This is not a fixed tool. This is infrastructure that is designed to grow. We are told that the data is deleted after 30 days, but as of a couple weeks ago, Flock Safety updated their terms and conditions that state the customer, which is again Cobb County Police Department, grants Flock a perpetual, irrevocable worldwide license to use customer data to provide services to improve its products. Perpetual, for the record, means forever, and irrevocable means it cannot be withdrawn. This license does not expire when the contract ends. So while Cobb PD may only have access to that data for 30 days, Flock retains the right to use that data indefinitely. Every second that these cameras operate, more data is generated under that license. And I think we can even see that with the Guthrie case where she didn't purchase the Ring subscription to have her data stored, and yet they were able to still pull that data. It's a little concerning. And this really matters when you look at the future of this company. Flock Safety holds a patent describing the ability to search video using characteristics such as gender, clothing, body type, gait, and race and ethnicity. Whether those features are deployed today or not, the platform is built to evolve. This isn't about stolen cars or some means of solving crimes. I'm not questioning, if the tool works. My question is, are we comfortable giving permanent data rights to a private company who is funded by Peter Thiel, works and integrates with Palantir, and calls concerned citizens like myself domestic terrorists? Or even when city councils have been able to cancel these contracts, Flock Safety has been known many times to add those cameras back without city approval. So again, I'm asking the question, are we comfortable giving permanent data rights to a private company before we have fully evaluated those long-term consequences? I urge you to please reconsider whether these terms reflect the caution of our community.
Tim Burchett, the congressman from Tennessee, is going to be running a bill to ban these things nationwide. If individual cities still want to be tyrannical and still do this, I don't know. Hopefully Burchett's law would stop that. And I'll close with Ben Franklin, of course, with this gets quoted a lot. Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase temporary safety deserve neither. And if you're being monitored, you don't have liberty, you don't have freedoms.
Is there such a system that would just track license plates if there was an issue in another city that could notify any other city and any other county, such as a kidnapping, a murder, whatever the case may be? Is there such just that type of system, or it's got to be the whole package?
From the research that my IT has done for me, there are several vendors that offer different levels. And yes, there are vendors out there that provide cameras that only take still photographs of the rear of a license plate of the vehicle. This is new to me. Before I was elected sheriff, I was a lieutenant over aviation and search and rescue, so we use a different camera for search and rescue. It only takes still photographs. And so when I started finding out that these cameras that are around this county can stream live video and take video and do AI pattern recognition, that's when it became a concern to me. So I can tell you we used them in search and rescue where there are cameras that only take pictures of license plates as they travel through a certain area. My anti-smuggling unit currently uses those cameras right now.
So at the end of the meeting, we asked to have things put on the future agenda. Will we need to put this on the future agenda to literally vote these things away, or does it defer to the attorneys?
Supervisor Surtee, my answer to that would be you can add an additional item as to any matter that the board has jurisdiction over. So in this case, there is an existing 2024 right-of-way license agreement. So if the board wanted to have that on a future agenda or as an item, it can absolutely do that. The contractual matters, those are separate from, because of the way they were procured, from needing to be an action item, but the right-of-way license agreement can definitely be an item.
The citizens of Pinal County that we are not renewing our flock contract. I have serious Fourth Amendment concerns with some of the technology that is contained in those cameras, whether we have access to it or not. I swore an oath to the Constitution and will protect your individual liberties until the day I die. It's an honor to serve.